we've got open the GBI Cyber folder. What is the date and time that we're looking at on the video? Can you show us?
It's February 22nd, 2024.
And before we talk about what we're about to see, let's get a little context. Is there a bus stop here?
There is.
Can you point to it with the pointer? There's a pointer right in front of you.
Right.
And in this frame, where's building S?
Building S is over here to the left.
And the road that we see that there's now a red line on, what road is that?
This part here is Village Avenue Extension. This is Rogers Road where they connect at the bus stop.
She cannot hear you. I can tell by the way that she's shaking her head. You're going to have to say that one more time into the microphone. Just say it again.
The road on the right is Village Avenue Extension. The road on the left is Rogers Road, and they come together at the bus stop.
In this frame, do you see a pathway to the Celia at Azul apartment complex?
I do.
Where is the pathway? Is that where the individual is coming out of at this point that we see in the frame?
Yes,
And is there another pathway to that apartment complex?
there is.
Can you show us that one as well? Okay, so that's further back. And if a person were to continue walking down Rogers Road, where would you end up?
At the very end,
Yes.
it makes a turn to the right, and it goes down to Village Avenue.
And is there a bigger road that is near here? Like, where's 10?
Loop 10 is back here.
Okay, thank you. This bus stop, is that a University of Georgia bus stop?
It is.
I am going to pause at 6:53. In this frame at 6:53, do you see apartment 114 in building S?
I do.
Can you please point it out to the court? So it's the lit up door at the bottom floor of building S.
It's the southernmost tip of the building.
going to stop it at 6:54. First of all, in the entire hour that this individual is around this area, does he ever talk to anyone?
No.
Ever engage with any person?
No.
Do you see from 6:52 to 7:54 this individual go to the Building S door?
Yes.
In that time frame, how many times does that person go to the door? And we're going to see them each time.
6 times.
And can you see on your video of those 6 times how many times that person actually opens the screen door?
Twice.
And the nature of this footage, how would you describe this footage? Is it great, grainy? I mean, how would you describe this?
At times it is good quality, at other times it is a little grainy.
Why is that? Is that just a function of the camera?
Yeah, it's connected cellularly, so sometimes when there's motion, it the quality gets better, but then when there's no motion, the quality disappears a little bit.
And did you make screenshots of this still video at some point in your investigation?
Yes.
I'm going to hand you what's been marked for identification purposes, the State's Exhibit 85, State's Exhibit 84. Do you recognize those items?
I do.
What are they?
There are pictures of the individual that was seen walking around the building.
And are those some of the screenshots that you made?
Yes.
The state would move to admit States 285 and 284.
Any objection? No, sir. They're admitted.
And were you all, or were you, in your investigation, attempting to identify the clothing and items that this person was wearing?
Yes.
And in your review of this video, were you able to see, first of all, gloves?
Yes.
Can you point to those? What color are they?
Black.
Were you able to see a cup?
Yes.
Can you point to that? And then were you able to see a bag? And it may not be best in this video at this point, but in one of your still shots, can you see a bag?
Yes, I can.
Can you please, I'm going to just show it to the court. Is it where my finger is?
Yes.
Okay, that just an easy way to do it. Is that a better view of the bag now?
Yes, it is.
All right, at 6:54. At 6:58, what door did that individual just walk by?
114.
What are we seeing at 7:01?
We see him walking up to 114. He's standing in front of the door. Now he's opening this outer screen door of the apartment. Now he walks back behind the building.
And now our next clip is at 7:06, so that's how Cyber just put it together. So we're
Correct.
not watching 5 minutes of dead video.
Correct.
But when you see him go to the back of the building, in the back of the building, are there windows in the back of the building?
There are.
And are there windows to 114 in the back of the building?
Correct. And it's on the ground floor, so it would be at, head level, chest level of an adult.
This 7:09 clip where I'm pausing, in what direction is now this individual going?
He's walking south.
Okay, and the IM fields from here, intramural fields, you're familiar with those, correct?
Correct.
Where are they in relation to where he's walking?
They're to the east of that, southeast of that, but you can access it by going south and then turning east.
Would this individual be walking in the direction of the IM fields?
Yes.
So now we're at 7:33. So between 7:09 and 7:33, do you see this individual on this trail cam?
No, I do not.
Okay. In what direction now at 7:34 is that individual walking?
He's walking north back towards Building S.
I'm going to pause it at 7:39. So at the last clip that we saw at 7:33, Did that individual go back behind Building S again?
He did.
Okay. And I asked you about the windows in Building S, and is that, space 276 has already been admitted, is that what the back windows look like in the back of that building?
It is.
And how they were also on that morning?
Correct.
Just publish again to the court, 276. So he leaves in that direction at 7:33 towards these back windows.
Correct. He's now standing in the cutout window in the stairwell.
What is that cutout window?
There's a stairwell inside there, and there's just the cutout that they have in there.
And that's at 7:40?
Yes.
What floor is he on now? 742.
He was on the second floor.
At 7:43, is that a UGA bus?
It is.
Does it pick up presumably students or the people that were waiting at the bus stop?
Correct.
7:44, what door did he just walk by?
114.
And the direction, and now we're at 7:46, so hold on. So it goes from 7:44 then to 7:46, so 2 minutes are missing because we clipped it together, correct?
Yes, because
But you watched all two minutes in between of 7:44 and 7:46.
I did.
All right. We see him disappear at 7:44. Does he go again around the back of Building S?
Correct, he does.
And how many minutes later does he come back again to the front?
2 minutes.
And that's what we're about to see here at 7:46.
Yes.
Does he touch the door at that time?
It appears he does.
Right? And again, it's 7, now we're at 7:48. Again, we lost about 2 minutes.
Yes.
In between 7:46 and 7:48, where does he disappear to, in what direction?
To the back of the building, and then comes back
So
again.
2 minutes later, he's back at the front door.
Correct.
And that's what we just saw.
Yes.
And now at 7:48, again, where does he go off to?
To the back of the building.
Now we're at 7:49.
He's back at the door at 114.
Does he touch the door at that time?
It appears, it's hard to tell because of the quality of the video, but he doesn't open the door.
7:51 now.
He's just standing in the area.
And when he left the frame at 7:49, which direction did he go?
Back towards the back of the building.
And then at 7:51, we now see him again in the screen.
Correct.
What do we see here at 7:54?
7:54, he had, from that 51, he had gone back behind the building and come back to the front of the building, and he was standing at the door.
And can you see him open the door here
Yes,
at 7:54?
yes.
And what does he do right there at 7:54?
He is ducking down.
What direction is he going now?
Back behind the building.
And we just lost 2 minutes. We're now at 7:56. So you described he ducks down at 7:54.
Correct,
He goes to the back of the building,
correct.
and then you don't see him again until 7:56. Is that right? So there's 2 minutes that we don't see in this clip because we're not going to sit here for all this time, where you don't see him on camera.
That's right.
So you see him again at 7:56. And in which direction is he going now?
He's going south,
Towards,
the IM fields. And here he disappears into the woods. There's no path there, just woods that he goes into.
okay, and I'm going to stop it here. So in this time period from 6:52 to 7:54, we've just watched all of that. Do you see, first of all, is this person alone or with someone?
Alone.
And have you watched in all of your hours of video review in this case, have you seen Diego Ibarra?
No,
Okay. In this time period?
no,
Okay. Have you seen him before?
yes,
As a matter of fact, you swapped him, and we're going to talk about that, right?
correct.
Do you know what Diego Ibarra looks like?
I do,
And have you looked for him in all of these videos that you have reviewed?
yes.
And on the 22nd day of February 2024, you ever see Diego Ibarra on this trail cam?
No.
Now I want to move on to the other clips, and then we're going to go back to your last clip that you made, okay? So what time are we at now?
9:05 a.m.
What part of the trail are we on?
This is Millage Avenue Extension as it's coming towards the bus stop.
What time? And you said 9:05 a.m.?
Yes,
And do you recognize that individual we see in the screen?
I do.
Who is that?
That is Laken Riley.
Do you see if anything she has in her left hand?
She is holding her phone in her left hand.
What direction is she running?
It's running south.
And was that also in the direction of the IM fields?
It is. She now went east towards the IM fields and the railroad tracks.
At 9:06 and 49 seconds?
Yes.
And now we are at a different time period. What time period are we at?
11:36 a.m.
What part of the trail are we on?
This is Millage Avenue Extension.
And do you recognize those two individuals that we now see in the frame at 11:36 a.m.?
I do.
Have you met them before?
I have.
And what are their names?
Sophia Magana and Lily Steiner.
And the dog is?
Champ.
Okay. Is that Sophia's dog?
It is.
Which direction are they going?
They're going south.
Now what time are we at?
11:55 a.m.
And who do we see in the frame now at 11:56?
Sophia and Lily and the dog Champ.
Now that it's the sun has come up, how would you describe the lighting that day?
It was, I think, partly sunny that day. It was a little bit windy.
I have to load the Gentech player for this. This may take one moment. This is why we decided not to play it this way. So you told us you watched while we're waiting for the Gentech player to load, that this trail cam for the entire day. What were you looking for?
Anybody that matched the description or anything that would have been suspicious activity.
It's up. I'm going to now play the part of your 279 that says Ibarra returned. First of all, I'm stopping here at, what time are we at?
9:41 a.m.
Is this still the same trail camera?
It is.
And in this frame, do you see the cut-throughs, for lack of a better term, to the Celia, how do you say it again? Celio at
Azulik.
Say it one more time.
Celio at Azulik.
Okay, was that the name of the apartment complex at the time?
It was.
Okay. Can you spell that for Madam Court Reporter?
Cielauazuluk.
Celio at Azulik. Show us where the two cut-throughs are to that apartment.
Could you make it bigger?
I can. One in the bottom screen and one in the middle of the screen.
Correct.
Play at 9:41. We see some red now coming through. Well, I just saw some red. Hold on, stop. I'll stop it. At 9:42 a.m., do you see the red?
Yes.
What's the red?
It's detecting motion, the camera.
And in what do you see an image?
I see a blob, appears to be a black blob.
Okay. And in what direction is that blob heading?
He's going west towards the Celio at Azulik apartments.
And during this time period when you watched all of this trail cam video, did you see anything else suspicious or that got your attention, or any other people that got your attention?
No.
I want to ask you about a few other things that you did in this case, Detective. First of all, did you review the cell phone of Laken Riley?
I did.
And it was extracted by your department?
It was.
Could you toggle over, Your Honor? So since 177, the very first video that we're playing, is on mute, tell the court what we're looking at here.
I'm arriving on scene initially. I'm about to meet with Sergeant Tim Johnson, Matthews Park County Police Department.
That individual we see in the frame at 1337, who's that?
That is Sergeant Tim Johnson. I can't remember the name of the other officer in the background, and that is Diego in the red sweatshirt.
And what apartment number is Diego standing out front of?
D126.
Does Sergeant Johnson show you an image at some point in this encounter with him?
Yes, right now. He's showing me a still frame image from video that they had recovered that I didn't have at that time.
And that still frame image, do we see it in your screen at 1337?
Yes, ma'am, on the phone.
And was that an image taken from a dumpster nearby?
Yes.
So he shows you that image, and then what do you do?
This is news to me. I was coming on shift roughly maybe an hour before this. So I relayed that to my superiors who were about to pull up, coincidentally, and then explained to them that, hey, they've got footage. At that time, I was not aware that they had already been aware of that footage.
The footage that was shown to you by Sergeant Johnson, what, if anything, was significant about it to you, and then what you were observing for yourself on Diego Ibarra?
At first, videoing it or reviewing the video, the still frame photo, Sergeant Johnson informs me that the image shows a male holding a hat or having a black Adidas hat, and then he informs me that I couldn't necessarily see from that distance till I get closer to Diego, but that Diego is wearing an identical hat, a black Adidas flatbill hat.
Did you make any observations about the hat that Diego was wearing?
Once I got closer, yes, I noticed on the back what I believe to be dirt on the brim.
And was that significant to you?
Yes.
Why?
Because I was on scene when we located Laken the day prior. She did have a lot of dirt, mulch, and things like that on her body. And I felt that if an individual was wearing that hat and was touching Laken in that manner, dirt could have been transferred to the hat by moving the hat.
So I'm going to fast forward a little bit for the record. At some point, do you begin talking to Diego Ibarra through your interpreter?
Correct. Yes, ma'am.
And how would you describe Diego Ibarra's demeanor with you and with you?
I mean, he's compliant. He's not posing any issues. Obviously, there's a block there through communication. But based off his physical mannerisms, I'm not really getting any deceptive behavior per se. I was aware at this point he did provide a fake green card, so he was detained for that.
Right.
He seemed to understand that we were detaining him for an investigative purpose. There appeared to be good rapport between him and officers, especially with Officer Bridges there, who you see.
If you could, do you have the pointer in front of you?
I'm not sure if I do.
Here we go.
Thank you.
Point out to the court at 1342 in your muted video that we're playing. Where's Officer Bridges?
He's right here in an identical uniform that I'm wearing.
All right. And the one closest to Diego in this frame?
Correct.
Okay. Go ahead. So you talk to him at some point. At some point, do you decide to obtain a search warrant for the apartment and to freeze the apartment?
Correct.
Tell us a little bit about that process.
Well, based on the fact that he was wearing that hat, the time frame that Tim Johnson encountered him was within 24 hours of the murder. He was walking back towards the general direction of campus, which was concerning as well. He somewhat matched the description of the male seen in that photo, discarding of what I later learned was evidence found in that dumpster.
And specific what evidence?
A sweater or a pullover of some sort with blood on it.
Okay.
And hair.
Okay. And did you ever see that evidence, or you were just informed of it?
No, it was picked up throughout the middle of the night. I was there all day the day before. They sent me home to get a sleep cycle, and I was the supervisor this day.
All right.
So I never saw the evidence throughout the night.
All right, go ahead.
And
What
then
about the proximity from the dumpster to Laken Riley's body?
the dumpster to Laken Riley's body, probably rough estimate 500 yards.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
So at some point, when you're with Diego Ibarra and you decide to get the search warrant, first of all, how do you communicate that to get the search warrant?
I go and talk to my superiors and I ask them, because they're maybe 20, 30 yards away in the parking lot at another vehicle discussing. I think they were talking to some GBI agents and other agency partners. And I asked for clarification of, at this point I gained knowledge there were other individuals inside the apartment. I wanted to start getting resources in and confirming that yes, we are going to go ahead and surround it. A warrant's going to be sought. and I need other translators here because from what I'm gathering, no one else speaks English inside the apartment.
And how many other individuals did you believe to be inside the apartment?
At this time, 3.
And could you see them from where you're standing?
No, not without being intrusive of sticking my face up to that window, which we didn't do. One, for an officer safety standpoint, but also, I didn't have a warrant at that point yet.
Do you see the window? You said the window. Can you point the window out? Is
Yes.
That, and that's again 1342. Is that the window to D126?
Yes, ma'am.
All right. I'm going to roll a little more. At some point, do you start asking Diego questions about whether he has any injuries?
Eventually, yes, I did.
And do you take pictures of him, and do you see parts of his body?
Correct. Yes, I did.
Going to play the video first, and then show you some photos. First of all, did you? You mentioned to us that there was a fake ID, so you knew he had given a fake ID. Tell us a little bit of that process.
I didn't obtain it myself. It was provided to Sergeant Johnson when he located him and was identifying him. Sergeant Johnson provided it to me and stated, if you look at it, there's 2 different dates of birth listed. There was one vertically on the side and then one listed with the rest of his identification information.
So did you agree with Sergeant Johnson's assessment that this was not a valid form of government identification?
Correct. Yes, ma'am.
I'm going to go to, I'm still muted. About 1358 on States Exhibit 177. What are we looking at here now at 1358?
I believe at this point my captain, Seth Robinson, was interested in seeing his hands.
And
asked
does he
him-
show you his hands?
Yes. So Captain Robinson, I believe, asked Officer Bridges to relay to him to please, show us your hands, and he complied. But put his hands out.
And did you see his hands?
I did.
Did you see any injuries to his hands?
No.
At 1359, what are we seeing Diego Ibarra do?
He was asked about, I believe they were asking this, if he could take his jacket off, and they were looking at tattoos as well as trying to make observations of any other potential injuries.
And go ahead.
And he takes his jacket off and becomes, I don't know exactly what he says. He starts kind of ranting a little bit and pulls his shirt up and shows us his stomach and his side tattoo.
And do you see any injuries on his stomach?
From my vantage point, no, I did not.
And if you had seen any injuries, would you have documented them?
Yes.
Okay. So may we toggle over, Your Honor? States 178, what are we looking at there?
That is a picture of Diego.
And do we see the hat he's wearing in this image?
Yes.
Is that the black Adidas hat that you've already described?
Yes, ma'am.
States 179. Well, who is that?
That's Diego.
Okay, and on his face, does he have any tattoos?
He does. He has a teardrop tattoo on his right eye, kind of off to the side there. It's a little hard to see if you zoomed in, but we identified as potential gang affiliation tattoo.
Can you point to that on
Yes.
the right side for 179? So what that image is, or that mark on his face that states 179, was that an injury?
No, it's a tattoo.
All right, thank you. States 180,
Again, it's Diego.
and do you see a tattoo on his neck?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, please point to that. 182,
Diego again.
okay, does he have tattoos on the back of his neck?
Yes, ma'am.
Could you please point to those? 183,
It's a close-up of the picture we just looked at.
and in 183, can you actually see the rest of the hat?
You can, yeah.
Okay. 184,
Rib cage tattoo. I'm not sure what the design was.
so tattoos, but did you observe any injuries?
No.
At some point while you are there, Sergeant, and approximately how long are you at this apartment complex that day?
All day, from 8:32 in the morning, and I don't think I was released till probably 8 or 9 o'clock at night.
All right, I'm going to go back to a different section of your video. And again, we are going to, it's played on mute. We are now at 14:34 in the top count for the record. So that would be 9:38 a.m. Am I right about that?
Yes, ma'am.
All right. At 9:38 a.m., we see an individual in a yellow shirt. Can you please point to that person first of all? And who is that person?
That is a brother Argenis, either Argenis or Argenis Ibarra.
And how did this person appear in this video? What happened?
He, while speaking with Diego and waiting for resources and other things, he walked out with a trash bag, like a 5-gallon plastic white trash bag that you would buy at Kroger.
Was he detained as well?
Yes,
And did you photograph him that day?
we did.
And I don't need to toggle over, but states 185, who is that?
That's Argenis.
At some point, did you obtain consent to enter the apartment from Argenis?
Yes,
And did you in fact enter the apartment?
I did.
What was your purpose of entering the apartment?
Well, he informed us that something was on the stove and that he was very adamant about going in to turn the stove off, I believe because of a fire hazard. So that was what we asked for consent to do.
And prior to going in, did you look to see if there are residents inside?
I did what we call a threshold evaluation, so I kind of peeked around from an angle because the door was already open. When Argenis left, he left the door open. So I could kind of see what the environment inside looked like. And when I didn't see any obvious threats, that's when I got closer to the doorway.
In states 177, we're now playing the second video for the record, and we're at 1442. Could you show the court where the open door is
Yes.
in the frame? All right. I'm going to fast forward a little bit to the time where you made entry. And at this point, I am going to play, so we're at 14:55 for the record, and I am going to play this video with volume because there's no statements of individuals. But the officers, and there is no confrontation issue here. But now our video is not working. Our audio is not working. There we go.
And that's back by the bedroom. I don't know if that's an exigency for me to go in there for a suit. Just a normal dude. I'd rather go into the other one. That's true. Yeah, I'll do it. There's a guy right here. There's a guy right here. Yeah, but... Alright. Hola. 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 Policia. Hey. Policia, manos.
He said he left something on the stove, so I was going to try and turn it off, but
Hey, I need you to translate one at a time. Come here. Come to me. Come here.
Pues sí, ¿para qué?
For you. Tell him I need to see his hands. I need to see his hands.
Ponte tu mano para arriba.
Tell him to slowly get out. Ask him to get anybody else.
Despacito, parte de la cama.
That's a match, man.
Ahí.
See it slowly.
También acá, despacito. Para acá. ¿Tienes algo en tus bolsas? ¿Hay alguien más aquí dentro?
No. For me.
Vente para acá.
There's nobody else in here?
¿Hay alguien más ahí dentro? No. He said no.
Turn this bitch off.
Okay, I'm going to pause it at 14:58 for the record. Were there people inside the apartment?
Yes.
How many?
2.
What were they doing?
Laying in bed.
Could you see their hands or their bodies?
No.
You had Bridges translate for you at some point, and when you went in, we could see a light. Were you holding a flashlight in your hand?
Yes, ma'am.
Were there, in fact, beans on the stove?
There were in
Okay.
a crock pot, the ceramic part of a crock pot.
All right, and you turned those off?
I tried.
The individual, first of all, the 2 individuals was one male and one was female.
Correct.
Okay. The female, what was her name?
Her name was Rosabelli, and I can't remember her last name at the moment.
The other male that was in the apartment, what is his name?
Jose Ibarra.
And do you see that person that you pulled out of the apartment at 14:58 in this screen?
Yes, you do.
And what color clothing is he wearing?
Red shirt, black shorts, and like black and red sandals.
And the person that you pulled out of the apartment on the 23rd day of February 2024, do you see him in the courtroom today?
I do.
Please point to him and describe an article of clothing that he's wearing for the record.
He's wearing a striped button-down shirt.
May the record reflect the witnesses identified the defendant. Did you, at some point, have the opportunity to observe Jose Ibarra, the defendant, on scene?
Yes.
How close were you at times to Jose Ibarra?
Your normal conversation distance, maybe a foot and a half.
Did you observe any injuries to Jose Ibarra?
I did.
What injuries did you observe?
While speaking to him, I noticed on his right arm, his bicep, there was a scratch, which I identified as a potential defensive wound. On his left arm, he had a forearm scratch that was very similar, which in my mind looked like fingernail scratches to me. While he was sitting there speaking to us, I also noticed on his left wrist, just below the palm, he had a puncture, maybe a half an inch wide, that through my experiences of playing sports in high school and receiving the same injury from fingernails in football, I could see like wet flesh, like almost like it was fresh. It wasn't very old, possibly still irritated. And as he moved his wrists, when I was looking at them closely, I could actually see the liquid, or I guess body fluids that would be in that cut, kind of reflecting with light.
Did you observe States 172 for the record? This is the first video on that thumb drive. Do you see the dumpster that you were at that night in States Exhibit 172 in this video?
I do.
Okay. Can you please point to it for the court using a pointer? There's a pointer right in front of you.
This?
No.
It's old school.
Oh, yes.
Okay.
In the center of the screen?
Yes.
Do you see in the UFI video a date and time at the top?
I do, yes.
What is the date and what is the time?
February 22nd, 2024 at 09:43 in the morning.
Is that complete playing the clip of the B32 UFI video from the 22nd day of February 2024 at 9:44 a.m.?
Yes.
All right, using this screen that's up is still 172 for the record. I want to ask you a series of questions about this exact location.
Okay.
And to do that, I have a map for you, which is going to be, which is already marked as States Exhibit 175. And I'm going to ask if you recognize Stage 175.
I do, yes.
What is it?
It is a overhead map of the immediate area surrounding the intramural fields and South Millage Avenue.
And with using States 175, aid you in your testimony today before the court regarding the locations surrounding this area.
Yes, it would.
State would move to admit States 175, request permission to publish for demonstrative purposes only.
No objection for this purpose, Judge.
Very well, submitted for that purpose.
I don't know if it's going to fit, so I think what we can do, I think we need to set it down because it's big enough. So what we're going to do is set it right here, and not use the easel because it's too big. And if you could, Detective Norris, first of all, I need to make sure that His Honor can see. Can you see?
I can. I'll stand up as I need to.
And that counsel can see. Can y'all see? Yes. And if you could step down with the court's permission, but you have to keep your voice to Madam Court Reporter, and you have to keep your voice up so that she can hear you. Show the court what we're looking at here in State 175. I want to start with, use your pointer. Where'd the pointer go? I want to start with the apartment complex that we see here in this video, the UFI video. It's at States 172. Where is that in this diagram?
The complex is right here in this area.
Okay. And where was Laken Riley's body discovered?
Right here in the intramural fields.
And there's an incident that we're going to talk about a little later, which is Building S. Where is that located in here?
This building right here.
Okay, with an S on it for the record. And then is Laken Riley's residence also depicted in here?
It is, yes.
Could you show us that?
It's 1686 Millage Avenue Extension.
All right. So distance-wise, did you measure all of these distances?
Yes.
Okay. So I'd like you to tell us for the record the distance between Laken Riley's body and that dumpster that we see in this UV video. What is that distance?
Roughly 400, 450 yards.
The distance between Building S and Laken Riley's body, what is that distance?
I believe it was roughly 400 yards.
The distance between Building S and that dumpster is what?
150 yards,
Okay.
roughly.
All right. Is there a camera, a trail cam, or was there at the time? Did the University of Georgia Police Department have a trail cam up near Building S?
Yes, we had a trailer cam set up in front of Building S at the time, around this community.
Okay, right next to where the pedestrian is depicted in this
Yes, there was
exhibit?
a bus stop that was here, and it was right in front of the bus stop in that area.
What is a trailer cam? And you can go ahead and resume your seat so Madam Court Reporter can hear you really well. What is a trailer cam?
So we have two of them in our department. You've probably seen them at department stores like Lowe's or Walmart. It's basically a set of cameras that are attached to a trailer that you can. It's a portable trailer that has cameras attached to the top of it. They usually have them at Lowe's or Walmart to prevent shoplifting.
I'm going to show you a few other state's exhibits. These are 156, 155, and 157. I asked if you recognize those.
I do, yes.
Let's take them one at a time. Let's first go with 156. What is state's 156?
This is a overhead of the Argo apartment complex.
The apartment complex that we see in this UFI video?
That's correct.
All right, the state would move to admit state's 156. State would move to admit 156.
No objection.
156 is admitted.
While I'm up here, 155, what is that?
This is an overhead of the intramural fields, specifically the Oconee Forest Park area.
State would move to admit 155.
No objection to any of those three.
All right, and then the state would move to admit 157 as well.
All right, they're admitted without objection.
I want to first start with 155 or 156. Would the court be able to toggle back over? Tell us 156, which apartment complex this is.
This is the Argo apartment complex.
And I'm going to try to zoom in a little more. If I can. I don't know how this Zoom works here. No. Anyway, in this exhibit 156, can you see the dumpster that we had seen in the prior UFI video?
Can't really see the dumpster, but you can see the concrete pad that it sits on, yes.
Okay, can you point that out for the court?
It is between building B and C here. This white area is the concrete pad that the dumpster's sitting at.
How many different buildings are in this apartment complex?
5.
Okay. And what are their numbers or letters? Excuse me.
It is A through E.
Do you did you eventually learn in this case of where Jose Ibarra was living at this time?
Yes.
Where was he living?
Delta 126.
So show us building D in this video, or in this photograph.
It is the one labeled D right here at the top of the picture.
Okay, and before I go back to the UFI video, well, in the UFI video, we see the individual dump the jacket and then walk towards the bushes and then walk away.
Yes.
In what direction was that person walking?
Walking towards building E in the northeast area of the dumpster.
Okay. Would that be towards building D?
Yes. Building D is also in that direction.
All right. Are there cut-throughs, or sometimes called cuts, between the apartment complex and then the road that we see on the edge of 156?
Yes, there are 2 main cut-throughs.
Tell us, first of all, what is the road that we see?
Millage Avenue Extension.
Okay. Is that the same road that Laken Riley lived on?
Yes.
All right. How do you get from the apartment complex onto Millage Avenue Extension?
The easiest way would be through one of the two cut-throughs.
Show us the cut-throughs.
The first one is between building C and D. Right here, there's a little cut-through area here. And then the second is between B and C where the dumpster is. That's another cut-through.
Where's Building S in this photograph, and what direction?
It's up here.
All right, at the very top?
Yes.
All right, thank you. And when I say Building S, I mean Building S of the University of Georgia Housing.
Yes.
All right, thank you. States Exhibit. Oh, I'm going to go on that for a minute. I want to go to Building D. So you said that he lived in D126.
Yes,
Did you meet the neighbors, his neighbors, at D125 and 124?
I did, yes.
Will you tell the court when you met them, how you met them?
I met them on February 26th. That is when I met Bethany Paisley, the resident of 124, and I gathered her ring video that was captured on the 21st, the 22nd, and the 23rd. And then I also met with the resident of 125. He also had a camera that captured photographs in the window of his apartment, so I also met with him and obtained some photos from him.
Did you obtain those photos from him in the same manner in which you obtained the ring video and the Eufy video?
Yes.
Did you stand in his apartment, look at the camera, and take the photos?
Yes.
I'll get to the photos in a minute. The Eufy video that we just saw, was it sent to the GBI Cyber Center for enhancement?
It was, yes.
And is there one image that they were able to do is enhance it and slow down parts of that video?
Yes.
Okay. Your Honor, if you could toggle back over, I'm going back to 172. Okay. 1 minute. It started too fast. I'm back it up. What are we looking at here in 172?
This is the GBI Cyber Forensics slowed down and enhanced version of the same video we watched earlier.
From B1 or from B32?
That's correct.
So going back to States 172, you had a folder in there, ring videos from D124.
Yes.
That would be the neighbor, Bethany, that you've already told us about. I'm going to publish some of her videos, but I'm going to do it one at a time. So this ring.com video, do you see the date and time in the corner of it?
I do, yes.
And could you please tell us that for the record?
February 22nd, 2024 at 10:21 a.m. And that is Eastern Standard Time.
In what direction was that person walking in that video that we just saw?
It'd be south in the apartment complex towards a dumpster.
Okay. And that dumpster that they were walking in the direction of, did you all search that dumpster?
Yes, we did.
And did you find anything related to this crime in that dumpster?
We did not. We later learned that it had been dumped approximately 45 minutes after this video was taken.
Okay.
It had been picked up by the trash service.
Next ring on D124, what's the date and time of this one?
This one is February 19th, 2024 at 02:02 a.m.
And this is what, the next video, what is this date?
This is February 21st, 2024, around midnight 21.
Okay, do you recognize the person in this video, this clip?
Yes, that is Diego Ibarra.
Okay. The next one, I'm going to pause it real quick while it's running. What is the date and time of this one?
February 21st, 2024 at midnight 31.
And do you recognize the person in this video?
That is Jose Ibarra. And that is Diego Ibarra.
All right, now stop this one. This is the 5th video. What's the date and time of this one?
February 21st, 2024 at 7:02 p.m.
All right, do you see the shirt in that video?
I do, yes.
And have you seen that shirt before?
Yes, I have.
And where did you see that shirt?
This is the shirt that Jose Ibarra was wearing in the B-32 video that captured him discarding the jacket in the dumpster.
Is he also wearing a hat in this video?
Yes, he is.
And what type of hat is it?
It is a flat bill style hat.
And stopping the next video, what's the date and time of this one?
February 21st, 2024 at 9:04 p.m.
What is in his hand?
I believe it's a cell phone.
And does he have a bag on in this video?
Yes, a crossbody sling bag.
Okay, can you point that bag out for the court, please?
This bag is right here across his body.
And in your investigation into this case and the searches that you all conducted, did you ever find that bag?
We did not.
The shirt that he's wearing in this video, did you ever find that shirt?
We did not.
Date and time of this, I believe, our 5th clip.
February 21st, 2024, 9:07 p.m.
And who is this person?
Jose Ibarra.
And now what is he wearing?
That is the blue jacket that we wound up finding in the B-32 dumpster that had been discarded.
And the last clip.
February 22nd, 2024, 1:35 a.m.
And I may have to back it up for this, but what's he wearing in this video?
The blue jacket, the flat bill hat, pants, and slides.
When you say slides, what do you mean by slides?
Slide-on basketball shoes.